Hey guys, Jeffries here, and welcome back to Football Manager 2017. We are playing as Hatfield Town, and I might have gone a little bit further ahead than I said I would because this is how the table stands at the moment. And I'm just done some quick maths in my head. There are 2 matches left, both of which I aim to play in today's episode as sort of a sorry that I might have jumped ahead slightly. And the reason I say I might have jumped ahead slightly is because, in fact, it doesn't even show it on here, but I have won the league. It's kind of being confirmed now that I did win the league, and I'm sorry about that, because I was wanting to show you guys me doing the match that would win the league, but it sort of happened without my knowing. It just, 1 minute we were cruising along, everything was going fine. The next minute we'd won the league, and I hadn't even realised. We are 12 points clear with 2 games to go though, so I perhaps should have known that, but as I said, it sort of snuck up on me. In terms of stats, I've just had a look over here and I'm quite impressed. Dinsmore has won man of the match 12 times, and I was worried that he would struggle in this league, but you can also see if I look at the goals tally, he's on 32! 32 league goals for the season. Clifton, who I thought was doing better than him, is 6 behind him. So that's quite impressive. Average rating, Dinsmore and Clifton leading the way. Assists, Dinsmore and a good winger I brought in, Toyosi Olasanya, who I'm actually incredibly impressed with, because he doesn't just provide goals, he scores them too. He plays out on the left wing for me, you'll see him in a second I believe. He actually joined me from Wimbledon. He's on loan for the season. He scored 9 goals in 36 games, so I'm quite pleased with that. Dinsmore though is just a machine when it comes to scoring goals. 31 last season, 32 this season. How many is he going to score next season? 33 would be the obvious answer. We'll see, shall we? We will see. Clifton, on the other hand, again, really impressed with him. He scored 9 in 22 for us last season. He scored 26 in 39 for us this season. So, yeah. I've been surprised, actually. Let me show you the squad. I've been surprised at just how good our team has been this season. I thought it would be a bit more of a stretch, but we kind of walked it. That's probably not the fairest way of saying it, actually. There were some tricky times, but in terms of the league overall, we did okay. Let's put it that way. We did okay. I have also been a little bit active in the transfer window, in that I signed some players. There isn't really a transfer window when you're in these leagues. I don't know whether that's just they haven't been added into this game, in this database file, or whether that you can genuinely sign players whenever you want throughout the season. But nothing has stopped me from signing players, and I've actually signed players for money. So I'm going to show you those players. I'm just checking something on my phone very quickly. I thought I had a note about something, but apparently I don't, so maybe it's not this series I'm thinking of. That's the trouble when you record multiple series. You tend to, well, you don't forget, but you tend to muddle them up. So, let's go back to what I was talking about. Arul, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Amu, he's also lethal. He scored 7 in 27, but even his assists aren't that great, actually. I was a bit surprised by that. But his stats are fantastic, and look at his current and potential. There's a lot more he has to offer. He has a finishing rating of 13. It's just because I've been playing him out on the right hand side. Although he isn't playing there at the moment, because the first of our new signings, Dequan Ebanks. He's a young striker. He's 23 years old, so he's actually the same age as me. There's me calling him young. I feel old, so I'm guessing he's old. I signed him for 1.7k from Blackfield. Now you'll see them come up quite a few times. He started his career at Birmingham, actually, 2011-12. It was quite impressive. Tamworth, Daventry, Kettering, Hereford, Westfields. I wonder if he bought anything while he was there. Tiverdale, Banbury, Coleshill, Hinckley, Heather St John's, Bowl Hall, Blackfield, and then myself. Before he joined us, he'd scored 3 goals in 22 games. He's already scored 5 goals for us in nearly half that amount. So it's fair to say that I tend to bring the best out of people. In fact, that was what I was going to be talking about today. This gives you an idea as to how far ahead I record these episodes, because I'm replying to comments now. Not my smartest move, but there we go. James Perry, it's asked. What am I talking about? James Perry has asked. Something I noticed on match day, you do not give team talks until the end. Do you do that on every match? Yes, and no. I don't do team talks. At the start, it was laziness. And then I said to myself, come on, it's part of the game. You really should be doing it. So I started doing team talks again, off camera. And it just... I love this game. There's nothing wrong with this game, really, apart from reactions and conversations. They are something that I would change immediately, given the chance. Because I just don't like them. You know, they're so boring. That's the main thing. They're so predictable. There's ones like you can congratulate a player for playing well in the last match, and he can end up annoyed with you because he didn't want he didn't want those congratulations. And I think that's really... That wouldn't happen in real life, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I personally, if I'm congratulating on doing well on something, unless the congratulations were sarcasm, I wouldn't turn around and say, just let me do my job. Which is what they say on here. So, I stopped giving team talks, I stopped giving interviews, I stopped G'ing the team up at the start and end of season, and I stopped... You know, when you've only got one game left to win the league, I stopped giving those speeches, which is why I missed us actually going for the league title, because this speech option came up and I just instantly went off it. I didn't even look at what it was for. So I don't give team talks. If my assistant isn't giving good team talks, I should probably be having a word with my assistant. But I don't give team talks. It's not really for me to say whether they're effective or not, because right now I just don't know. But the other question that James asked was, are you likely to keep the tactic with instructions over the whole season, even if things don't go to plan? Yes. Every match I will start with this formation, unless I do change it, of course. But I will start with the same formation for every single match, the same system, the same tactics. If things aren't going to plan during those matches, then I'll start to tweak things and change things around. My go-to plan B is to drop a striker deep and substitute him with an attacking midfielder and actually go to a 4-2-3-1 formation, just to flood the midfield a bit more and try and regain possession of the ball. Right now, though, this 4-4-2 is working superbly well. We've got two strikers who love running off the shoulder of the defence. We've got two wingers who love to play down the lines and cut inside and can also get onto the end of crosses. And we've got two centre midfielders, not necessarily these two, I should point out, although Harrison is another one of our recent signings, by the way. We'll come back to him in a second. We've got midfielders and defenders who can ping the ball over the top into the path of these two strikers. So at the moment, it's working. Whilst it's working, there's no need to change it. I get the question, I totally get the question, and there are times where I do want to change things up just for the sake of it being more interesting. But then I've noticed that results don't tend to go my way when I do that. So it's a very fine line when it comes to tactics. You have to be careful about what you change. Apart from that, I think I'm up to date, and I'm actually looking at my viewing figures. That's very good. I'm actually quite surprised at some of the viewing figures for these episodes, because I didn't think they'd be that popular, but there you go. So thank you for that. What's this? Episode 8. So yes, thank you very much. If I'm getting those viewing figures right the way through till this episode, I'll be very happy indeed. But here's me talking about tactics. Here we are in the tactics window, and we are about to enter the match. I'm just going to introduce you to our other new signings first. So, Connor Harrison, here's another new one. He joined us from Handsworth on a free transfer. Scored 1 goal in 19 games. He's a bit of a hit and miss player, actually. I'm quite a fan of him. He is our best rated midfielder. But because I had a really good partnership going with Hood and Ryan, he didn't really get much of a look until recently, where Hood got suspended and Ryan is injured, yeah. So he got a look in then. And actually, he's done okay. He has done okay. Other players, Joe Jones, centre-back here, young centre-back. He's only 22. Again, he's joined us from Blackfield. He's yet to make his debut for us yet. The reason being, he's already played for 2 teams in a season. You can't play for more than 2 teams in a season unless you're on loan, I think is the... Although even then, I'm not 100% sure, because normally it's they'll loan out the player, they'll recall them, or their loan will expire, and then they'll loan them out again. They won't actually play for a third club. So, excuse me. If anyone knows the rules on that one, you'll have to let me know. But he looks like a good player, actually. He seemed to have been having a good season for Blackfield before we brought him in. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us next season in a higher division. Daniel Cavier, he's another player we've brought in. He's a right back. He's 21 years old. He's also joined us from Blackfield. Again, for money. Again, actually, he's goals scoring. 4 goals in 23 games in a single season for a right back is quite something. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Jordan Anderson, another right back. Not from Blackfields, but did originally start at Blackburn. So that's quite exciting. And again, 5 goals in 27 appearances for New Mills, which is where he joined us from. So I'm looking to see how well he can do for us there. And finally, I think that's everybody. Yeah. Finally, our new left back, Louis Perry. I've been struggling with the left back, and I think I've stumbled across a good one here. Again, he joined us from Blackfield. Started at Stevenage. That's actually, yes, the name does sound familiar. I was about to say that's news to me, but the name does sound familiar. I know we used to have someone in our... We used to have 2 Louis. We had Louis Yamfam. And we had another Louis, and I didn't know who that was. But apparently it's this guy, Louis Perry. Started with us in 2010, so that would have been, yeah, our first season in League 2. So yeah, he would have been a youth player at that point. He went to Bath. 3 years at Bath, 2 years in Blackfield. Well, a year and a half in Blackfield, and then half a season with us. 15 appearances, no goals yet, but he has got an assist. And yeah, I'm really... So, oh, actually, no, I missed out another player, Matty McCarthy. This guy is Mr. Utility. We've got Tierney, who's out on loan at the moment. This guy I've brought in because he's another utility player. He's actually a left back, but he can also play centre back and right back. So he's filled in at those positions twice for me during matches due to injury or sending off or something of that nature. Started his career at Gateshead. Again, he scored a goal in this season for break before joining us for 1.7k. Our transfer budget, well, we didn't have one. Let's be honest. We didn't have one to start with, and now we don't have any money, pretty much. I've sort of milked us dry in that sense. But I've been very impressed with the squad, so it's been worth it. And I would very much like to keep Olasanya and Gooch for a second season to see how well they do. Although Gooch needs to step up on his goals tally. That's dreadful. Who was it? I think it was Vincent Tan when he bought Cardiff. He demanded a meeting with the manager to try and get to the bottom as to why a certain player hadn't been scoring goals. And I think that player was David Marshall, who at the time was their goalkeeper. Now he plays for Hull, of course. So that's quite comical. I mean, you talk about owners don't know the football. That certainly seemed to sum that one up. But yeah, our chairman, he loves us. He's a very big football fan. He loves us so much that he did actually offer us a new contract, which I gladly accepted. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking now because we've got a game against London Coney away. So let's actually jump into that. Because we've been 13 minutes gone and we actually haven't seen a match yet. Although this is an end of season special. We don't need to worry about any of that. It says Olasanya is struggling and will struggle to see out the match, but we don't actually have any other left midfielders in the squad at the moment because we loaned out Jaden Dull. So I shot myself in the foot a little bit with that one. I'm not too upset about it though. We are going to get going. Let's see, Harrison here on the ball. Out wide to Lockie, who I've been impressed with as well actually. I was a little bit sceptical of him at first when I brought him in, but he's proved me wrong. He scored a couple of goals. One was a total fluke like you get on this game, where he went to cross it in and it went over the keeper's head into the back of the net. That's quite a predictable thing as well. I wish they'd stop that on here. But I mean it's tiny faults in what is otherwise a perfect game. So I really can't complain too much. And neither can I complain about that. In fact, that is exactly what I was talking about with Dinsmore. Ball over the top, ran onto it. Keeper should have saved it, let's be fair. But found the back of the net. Plays off the defender's shoulder. He does a perfect job of staying onside. I think in the entire time I've been playing on this save, I think I've only seen him flagged offside 3 times. Obviously, he might have been flagged offside more times and it's not been shown, but in terms of action and rebound shots and things like that, 3 times in 2 seasons. That's quite impressive. That is actually very impressive, considering some players get flagged offside 3 times in a single half. Yeah, it's impressive. And we've been dominating teams as well, by the way. I wish we could have done this in the cup competitions. Been a bit disappointed with the cup. We went out in the quarterfinals of the Spartan Midlands Trophy, I think it's called. I'm trying to remember the name of the bleeding trophy now, but we got through, and we got into a match against London Tigers, who were actually way below us in the league. We thumped them twice in the league, but we lost 3-1 in the cup, which is really frustrating, because I want to do well in cup competitions, and I don't like losing in any match. You know, the FA Cup, we went out to, I think it was Telford, who are just outside the Football League. I think they're the National League South. I think they're in at the moment. They might be in the National League itself. Can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that wasn't particularly fun. Again, it was a 3-1, I think. They made us look average. And I know that they're a team way higher than us, and I know that it's the FA Cup, and we shouldn't be getting into the first round proper. But we were so close. We were so close to getting into the first round of the FA Cup. Which, for a club of this size, that is massive. Financially speaking, that could probably pay for our squad for 3-4 years. Just getting into the first round of the FA Cup in real life, that is. On here, I think I think the prize money's scaled down, and I think the things like TV revenue and stuff isn't really taken into account for these cup competitions anyway. Because guaranteed, if we'd have got into the first round, they probably would have televised us. So yeah, I mean, it was disappointing we didn't get through, but realistically speaking, it was the right result, let's say. Speaking of the National League, other people will have had this, of course. If you do well on Football Manager, you get job offers from other teams. I've had loads of job offers from loads of teams during this save, but this season in particular, there were a couple that stood out. Boreham Wood offered me a job. Bath, well, they didn't offer me a job, sorry, they offered me an interview. Bath, Weston-super-Mare, I've forgotten their name. Weymouth? Yeah, Weymouth did, and Wrexham. They all offered me interviews. I'd say I must have been offered about 30 during this season. Those 5 are the ones that stood out, because they're just outside the Football League. They're within 2 or 3 divisions of the Football League. We're about 3 or 4 off of that ourselves. I'm trying to work it out. We started in the 10th level. We're now in the 9th level. We're going into the 8th level. The National League is the 5th level of English football. So I would have jumped from the 9th to the 5th if I'd have taken the Boreham Wood job. That's mental. That's going up 4 divisions. They must have seen something. Personally, I'm never going to leave Hatfield for as long as they want me. Other people, you know, some people like to be a journeyman. I've always wanted to be a journeyman, but I just can't do it. I get too attached. I tried managing teams before that I have no link with at all. Teams that I don't even like sometimes. But you end up getting attached to them. And you read these stories, like Football Manager had a documentary a couple of years ago where they actually went and spoke to people who had never had any association with a football club before, managed them on Football Manager, and now they fly in from all over the world to watch them play matches. And in fact, there's a fellow YouTuber who's featured recently for doing exactly that with Air United. It happens, you know. Football is this addictive thing where you say to yourself, I have no love for this club whatsoever, and the next thing you know, you can't leave them. It happens. It's football. It's life. You can't get away from it, unfortunately. And that's what's happened here. I mean, obviously I've set this team up with the intention of staying with them for the duration. But in the past, I've grown attached to teams, and I even find myself looking at their results in real life now. Even though I've never been to any of their matches, some of them I still don't know. Like, I managed Brackley Town once. I still don't fully know where Brackley is. Every time I ask, I get a different answer. But because I managed them on Football Manager and I took them to the 4th round, I think it was, of the FA Cup, suddenly it's like, oh, Brackley, I know them. And, you know, a little flutter of the heart every time I hear Brackley being mentioned on BBC Sport or whatever it might be. Oh, Clifton, 2-0. Good finish. There's me talking and talking so much. I am watching this game, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I've just forgot to talk about it. But there we are, 2-0. And I was talking about obsessions with teams, wasn't I? So yeah, Brackley. I have a soft spot for Brackley. In fact, I think I might have told this story before, but I'll tell it again because there will be new people to the channel. There is a footballer. I won't tell you his name just yet, but there is a footballer who I absolutely was beside myself with joy when he signed for Stevenage, because I was such a big fan of his. Having never met him, having never seen him play live before, I was a huge fan of his. And the reason is, FIFA 04, I played with Northampton. And again, this was one of those, I had no association with Northampton whatsoever. Didn't want to play as Newcastle because they're in the Premiership and it's too easy to play as a Premiership team on games like FIFA. You want to start from as low down as possible. So I started in League 2 with a nice team called Northampton Town. And I was scouting for a new striker. Good save, Gooch. And I found this young striker by the name of Yemi. Now, I've never actually gotten confirmation of how to pronounce his surname. I've always called him Yemi Odebade, but I have heard people say Odebade. So if you are watching, Yemi, or someone who knows Yemi and knows how to pronounce his name, please feel free to actually correct me on that, because it's only right. But I found this young striker from Yeovil called Yemi Odebade, and I bought him. I think he cost me £20,000, something like that. He scored goals for fun. He went mental when I let him out on the pitch, constantly scoring. And yes, I was controlling him, and yes, the difficulty might have been a little bit lower than you'd expect on a game of FIFA. But how old was I in 2004? I was 9. No, wait, no, I wasn't. I was 11. I'm still young, you know. I don't know my way fully around football games. I still couldn't play an F1 game without crashing on every corner. Not much has changed there since then. But, you know, I was scoring so many goals with this guy. And then I found out that he wasn't an in-game generated person. He actually existed, and he played for Oxford. By the time I found out he existed, he played for Oxford, and he played against Stevenage, and he scored. And at that point, I was like, this guy's real. You know, this guy actually exists. Oh my god. So I started keeping tabs on him, how he was doing for Oxford. The next thing I knew, he'd signed for Stevenage, and he actually was our top scorer. And I say our, he was Stevenage's top scorer the season they won what is now known as the National League and got promotion to the Football League. And it's a heavily disputed fact with my friend. Yemi Odebade scored 15 league goals that season. Charlie Griffin scored 14. And they were arguing with me saying that they were level, and I'm sure that Yemi got one more. And according to the stats that I read once upon a time, he did indeed get one more. He wasn't with us for much longer after that. He was with us for 2 seasons. And then he left to go to Newport County on loan, and then he found his way to Gateshead. But I follow him on Twitter. He's tweeted me twice on my birthday. People can probably check that, actually. If you follow me on Twitter, I think you can see that because I retweeted it. He's now at Maidstone. He was at Eastleigh up until last year. So, yeah. Again, it's one of these things. It was a football game. It meant nothing to me. And suddenly, I was watching the guy who I'd been fangirling over for years playing in front of me, and I was cheering his name, and every time he scored I'd go a little bit more mental than I perhaps should have done. Kevin Pottage grabbing a goal back there for London Coney, not great. Poor goalkeeping. But yeah, it was a good experience. So, I mean, they talk about the magic of football and why do people love it so much, and that's one of the reasons. Just the unexpected happens. I'm not talking about this goal, by the way. This goal was absolute rubbish. I'm talking about the fact that you can actually gain heroes. Proper heroes. Not these money-grabbing so-and-sos who are asking for 300 grand a week or whatever it is. I'm talking about in the lower leagues. You know, anywhere from even sort of League 1 downwards. You meet footballers who really feel the love from the fans and will do anything for those fans. And especially if you go to small clubs in those leagues, like I'm going to name some examples here, so no offence if I call your team a small club, because I'm actually doing it for the right reasons. Stevenage, small club. Newport County, relatively small club. Even AFC Wimbledon, they're getting bigger, but in terms of where they've come from in recent years, small club. And their story is a good one as well. I won't talk about it now, but Go research AFC Wimbledon if you don't know about them. What a story. What a story. And in fact, they recently played Sutton United in the FA Cup, and it was almost the anniversary of their first ever match in existence, which was against Sutton United. So it's good stories from football. Did I talk about that goal? I don't think I did. Ebanks got one back. And I keep wanting to say Ebanks Blake or Ebanks Lendl, but no, it's just Ebanks. Oh, Dinsmore with a shot. Again, Dinsmore and Clifton. What a strike partnership. I used to play one or the other when I was doing the 4-2-3-1 last season. What an idiot. I should have played them both. And again, I'm in one of those unique situations where Amu hasn't done anything wrong, but he can't get a game because these two are doing so well. And even down the right-hand side, Ebanks has done so well. The reason I brought Ebanks in was because Amu got injured, and we had to play Akioto, who was only himself coming back from injury. So I looked at the list of available players and found Ebanks, brought him in, played him on. I think he scored twice on his debut. Might have even got a hat-trick on his debut, actually. I'll have to check that one too. But what a player to do something like that on your debut, even if you only scored twice. What a debut! So at that point, it was, well, he's my first choice right winger for the duration, and yeah, I don't think he's missed a game since then. It's horrible sometimes being a football manager, even on a game, because you do have the pick of players, but you can't change your team because it's doing so well. And it does get frustrating because you want to try things out, but at the same time you don't want to try it out in case it doesn't work, because if it doesn't work it will backfire massively. And I've been victim of that too many times as well. So I don't like to tinker. I'm not Claudio Ranieri. I don't particularly enjoy tinkering with my team. Again, it's in answer to that question. The tactics don't really change at the start of matches. They might change during matches. If I see our defence as being a bit weak, I might strengthen it up a bit more. I might move a player into defence midfield, or if I think our attack is looking a bit weak, I might move a player into attacking midfield. But every match we start with the same tactics. So I always like to think of it as, yes, you can adjust your tactics for the opposition, but if you adjust your tactics for the opposition and then they come out with something completely different, you're kind of screwed. So I like it to be, they have to adjust their tactics for me. They might suss me out, you know. They might think, oh, he plays 4-4-2. And he has his strikers play off I can't speak. He has his strikers run off the shoulders of the defenders. Yeah. So, can you stop it? That's the question. Because if Dinsmore is twice as fast as your defender, yes, he might step up and try and play the offside trap. But if Dinsmore breaks the offside trap and stays onside and gets the ball, can you stop it? No. Because not only are you now giving him 20 yards further to run into, but you also haven't got the players to catch him once he does. So my tactics are strong enough and my confidence is high enough that I get a bit arrogant about it and think, that was a bit of a backfire. It's me talking about arrogance. But I do get arrogant and think, why should I adjust to them when they should be adjusting to me? We are top of the league. We are there for a reason. Not because we concede crappy goals like this, but because actually we do deconstruct teams just by playing the way that we've always played. There's nothing new about it. I might occasionally swap Clifton and Dinsmore over, something that they're not expecting. Suddenly Dinsmore is the target man and Clifton is the runner. They're both capable of playing in each other's positions. Things like I might play Amu out on the wing instead of Ebanks. Right now I've got a left back playing left mid because Olasanya was struggling a little bit, so I moved Perry forward and brought McCarthy on, and actually that's backfiring on me slightly because new left back's not having a great game and Perry's rating is dropped as well. But I kind of felt like I had to do that to preserve our players, because I would like to keep this squad together and in one piece for the close season, have them all come back next season fighting fit and raring to go. And there you are, look, our midfield. Who can prepare a team for that? Like, you can't hold on to the ball for too long because the midfielder will come back and take it off you. They might have that on the back of their mind, but they don't know when it's going to happen. And there's not really a lot they can do to stop it either. Once it's happening in real time, you can't just rewind the clock and stop it from happening. It's done. It's happened. You have to sort of live with it at that point. Oh, he banks. But he's going to head that down to Dinsmore then. That's something else that's missing from this game actually, is knockdowns. In real life, you probably would have seen him head that back across the face of goal for someone else to run onto. But on here, they always have to shoot for some reason. And, you know, that's something that perhaps they'll bring in future games. The actual gameplay element of this isn't what the game is all about. This is kind of an optional extra. The management side of things is what the main goal of the game is. But there are times where I think that wouldn't really happen in real life. Let's see if we can just see this game out though. We have won the league, yes, but I do still want to keep winning. We are actually on track, I believe, for a points record for the division, which is good. I think also Clifton and Dinsmore are both up for breaking the goal scoring record in this division. And I think it's Amu and Dinsmore. I think there's two. Might be Clifton as well, actually. They're all up for breaking the assists record in this division. So what a way to leave our mark on the division. We literally breeze through in the space of a year, break 4 records, and leave the other teams wondering what the hell's just happened. In reality, we don't deserve to win the league because we are the newbies. We've never been... In fact, actually, Hatfield had just been relegated from this division at the start of this real-life season. But in terms of the game, we are the newbies to the division. We don't deserve to win it. And yet, there we are, absolutely walking it. If we're being brutally honest, we are 15 points clear at the top of the league with a game still to go. 15 points at the end of the season is a huge margin. It's 5 wins, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have to win those games and hope your opponent loses, it's quite a lot. There's a lot of pressure there. And I think bar one little scare mid-season when we had a bit of a slump, I will show you the results between this match and the next one. We had a little bit of a slump mid-season, and I did make a couple of changes to personnel during that point. I didn't change the tactics, I changed the squad. There's a difference as well. And I think that's something I pointed out in my reply to that comment. Was you have to find the players to play the squad. You can to play the tactics. You can start with players who aren't necessarily natural in those positions, and you can try and retrain them. It's the cheap way to do it. It's kind of the non-league way of doing it. If it's not working though, you do have to bite the bullet and make a change. And that's what I did. I brought in a new right back, brought in a new left back, brought in a new midfielder. Our midfield was weak at one stage. We had Hood and Ryan both out injured. We had Mitchell and Burgoyne playing in midfield, and neither of them really are good enough, if I'm 100% honest. Mitchell I might keep on just as a sort of reserve player, but the rest of my midfield needs a massive overhaul. Massive overhaul. Bailey, I think I terminated his loan because he wasn't doing well enough. Oh, you are kidding me. 3-3. Offside. Even so, I'm going for overload. That's something else I do. Even if I'm just... Oh, it's actually been given us full time as well. I was about to say, even if I'm winning with a couple of minutes to go by a goal, I will still go into overload. Because just that little element of uncertainty. What overload does is it just means every time you get the ball, you bomb forward and try and attack. And it keeps it as far away from your goal as possible. You can be caught on the break. You can be caught on the counter. And you can just be caught out in general. It doesn't even have to be a counter attack. They could just get the ball and play normally. But if you do grab the ball and you make the most of it in those situations, then you'll see the game out. Or, as a bonus, you'll score another goal and reduce all doubt. But we did win that one. We won 3-2. Not particularly happy. If I show you the schedule, where was our mid-season slump? There was one, honest. We dropped from first to... in fact, where's the... I did say Telford, didn't I? In the FA Cup. So it's the second qualifying round. So I don't think we were quite in the hat for the first round. Yeah, there were 2 more qualifying rounds before the first round. Okay. So in that sense, we didn't quite make it there. But there was a period around here It was around about November, December time where we did drop out of the top spot. And I don't know why, because it seems like our winning streak was actually pretty good. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there. We did lose 3-1. There it is. The Spartan South Midlands League Challenge Trophy semi-final. We lost 3-1 to London Tigers. And then since then in the league, there you go. We beat them 3-1 there. And we beat them 5-1 there. So how we lost this one, I don't know. We didn't even have anyone sent off. We just played poorly. And we had Ryan and Hood in midfield. In fact, this is probably our strongest lineup. The only change I made, by the looks of it, was I started Armu instead of Dinsmore. Brought him off the bench and he scored our consolation. Apart from that, it was a first team. We only had 69 people went to that game. 3 away fans. 3 away fans. Can you imagine that? 3 away fans. I mean, 3. That's such a tiny number, even for in this league. I would have thought we'd have had more than that, but I don't know. Again, I think there's a scale factor on this game, where things are scaled down slightly. Right, let's continue, because we've got one more game to play, and it's against Stopfold, which, if you're from the same area as me, Stopfold had a reputation a couple of seasons ago for being quite dirty. In fact, not a couple of seasons ago, more than that. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. They had a reputation for being very dirty. Lots of sending offs. By the sounds of it, they've turned it around now. So, I mean, that's good when something like that happens. You don't want to see teams getting in trouble all the time. So it's good that they've turned that around. I'm just looking at this, actually. Fidowu. He's had a pretty good season out on loan. 9 goals in 35 games. It's not bad. He'll be pushing for a spot next season. Bearing in mind he's been playing a couple of leagues above us still. Walker, I did loan him out as well. I'm going to let Walker go at the end of the season, actually. He scored a couple of good goals for us, but his longevity isn't really there, and he is 22, so it's not like he's still young and can learn. He scored 2 in 13 for us since joining. He has scored 3 in 10 out on loan, but I think it's better for everybody if he moves on. Same with Jeffries, actually. He had a good season for us, but I think we've got to the stage now where we're heading up and he's heading down, so we're passing each other. That's basically what happened. He joined us for a season whilst we were passing each other, but that phase is now over. So it's sad. Again, I get attached to players as well as clubs. Sometimes I won't let a player go because of sentimental reasons, but you have to have a wise head on your shoulders at times, and you have to look at the bigger picture, especially from a financial point of view. We could do with moving him on. Sorry, I went there, I said it. He kind of needs to go. I want to bring Gooch in permanently. I also want to bring in a good backup keeper. Because who knows, Gooch might not even be good enough to play for us first team next season. We might have to bring someone else in to take his place. But for now, he has been a pretty good keeper for us. He might have been a bit poor for us in that last game. He let in 2 quite easy goals. Although that could just be the match engine not quite showing us the whole story. But yeah, I'm always looking to improve the squad. I think that's another key. If I was to create a tutorial series out of this, I'd say that would be one of the first points on the list. I won't be one of those people that keep saying that's rule number 1, because it's not really rule number 1. The big rule for me is always look to do better than you're currently doing. That's rule number 1 in any tutorial I'll ever do. Always look to do better. So in this game, you can have a good squad. You could be top of the league. You could be 15 points at the top of the league. You could be 30 points clear at the top of the league. But you should always be looking as to who can improve your squad, either for this season or next. And if you look at good teams over the years, Manchester United, 3 years ago now, they won the league under Ferguson in his last season. Moyes came in. Wasn't just because Moyes wasn't a good enough manager for Man United, it's also because their squad wasn't good enough. And that doesn't necessarily happen overnight. But what happened was all the other teams around them strengthened and improved, but Man United didn't, and they got caught out. Same thing happened to them when City first won the title. Man City first won the title. Man U lost it on goal difference. The reason being is because they hadn't improved their squad enough. So Fergie went out and bought Van Persie, and the rest on that one's history. But you have to keep improving the squad. It's the first rule of football, really, is you should constantly be looking to improve your squad. Otherwise, you might as well just give up and go home now. Never settle for what you've got. I've got Dinsmore and I've got Clifton up front, and I've still brought in Armu, who can also play up front, Ebanks, who can also play up front. I've got Fedowu to come back from a loan spell. Dean Griffin, he's had 2 loan spells this season. I actually played him up front for 1 match, I think, when his loan expired, just to try and rotate the team a little bit more. I'm always looking to improve. If I end up with 5 first-team strikers, then I'll have to start trimming it down a little bit. But at this moment in time, I'm still looking to sign new players. In fact, to prove that I've been looking at signing new players, I've actually been looking at whose contract expires at the end of the season. And there are a couple of goalkeepers available. Jonathan Jones and Chris Cheetham? Yeah, Cheetham. Hopefully he doesn't literally do that. I'm tempted. I'm going to pop a scout on them. How good are you? You're more of an all-rounder, I would say. But again, I'm tempted. So we'll see how good you guys are. John Kennedy, not great. Not great. Fairly good rating for the senior team, it says, but not great. So I've got the wage budget to bring in a couple more players if necessary. I would like to sort of keep the wage budget at plus 1,000 a week, because that always means if you're under budget, then they can't blame you when the club goes under financially, because you did your job. You kept within the budget they gave you. If they end up in financial trouble, there's something wrong at their end. This something else which makes it challenging on here is you can't spend massive amount of money every time something goes wrong. You have to look at the free transfers and the loans and see what can improve your squad. And apart from a couple of the loans at the start of the season, I haven't really been that active in the loan market. Most of my signings have been free transfers or, very recently, actual money transactions. But most of them are over the space of 4 years. I'll be paying £1,600. In 4 years' time, I think, on here, will be just outside the Football League. So that amount of money on a transfer isn't really a problem anymore. Oh, Hatfield Town's game against Stopfold in the Spartan South Midlands Premier Division should see a bumper crowd, with supporters clamouring to see the recently crowned champions at home at Goslin Sports Park. 169 tickets have been sold, or are expected to be sold. Our average attendance is 84. We have the 7th best average attendance. Well, we're going to probably suffer with that as time goes by, because our fan base isn't going to grow as quickly as our status. So yeah, there is going to be a cut-off point in the end. Right. Clifton and Hallett both set to become appearance-making record breakers. Although they say that, 62 out of 67, 58 out of 67. Why they're telling me about them now, I don't really know. Both Jones and Cheetham don't actually look that appetising anymore. Now that the scout has actually started to look at them, they don't look that great. It's like a speculative scout report you get when you go on the list itself. Once you assign a scout to them and they start looking at them a bit more proactively, it tends to become more realistic, their opinions. So they go from being the next Messi to being, I don't know, name a crap midfielder. That's what you're looking at. It tends to scale down more and more the more you scout them. You want to get as close to a realistic opinion of them as possible. It also helps if you can bring them in on trial, because then you've got your coaches taking a look at them as well and giving you their feedback. Then you realise that you probably shouldn't be spending your transfer record on a player that's not even good enough to clean the boots of your captain. Speaking of which, Dinsmore has been our captain for the majority of the season, because Mitchell is technically our club captain, but because he hasn't been playing, it goes to the vice captain, which is Dinsmore. Which I think I partly did because my assistant told me to, and I partly did to keep him happy because he wasn't in a great mood at the time. Why are they trying to loan players out now? Surely they've got as many games left as I have. That doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, Olasanya, yeah, he's back fit and ready to play actually, so that's quite good. I believe Ryan's fit enough to go on the bench, so I'm going to put him on the bench instead of Bins. See, I would get sentimental at this point and say it's probably worth sort of rotating the squad a little bit and giving some other players a chance. But do I really want to be doing that? I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to apologise for my stool creaking, by the way. You'll have to excuse my stool creaking, sorry. You don't have to apologise, you've done nothing wrong. I'll have to apologise for my creaky stool. Akioto, we'll give you a game. Go on, we'll give Bins a game. We might as well play a rotated squad whilst we're here. So we'll put Johnson. May has played this season. He's made 4 appearances, but I don't think Johnson has. No, he hasn't. So I'm going to play Johnson instead of May. Leave May on the bench. It's a bit harsh, but I think harsh in a fair way. We'll play Anderson at right back. I don't really have another. I got Oos at left back. Bird instead of Kearns. I don't have anyone else who can play defence, centre defence. I've got Coggins for Hallett. Can these two swap over? Yeah. I'd rather both of them be half than one be full and one be empty. I think that's fairer. We'll try you on the left. Bailey. Yeah, you can start. And up front. Now again, this is an interesting one. Because we've got Amu, who has made appearances this season. He's played 32 times this season, in fact. And then we've also got Ebanks, who can play. And that's kind of my lineup. I'll put Dinsmore on the bench. Everyone else... Actually, Cavier hasn't played for us yet. I think Anderson has. Yeah, Anderson has. So Cavier will start at right back. I could play Leggett at left back, but again, he's played twice this season and he's not actually that good, so I probably really should have done a decent thing and cut his loan short, but oh well. If I was cruel, I'd have recalled for Dowu, which I can't actually do because I'm outside a transfer window, but if I could have, I would have, and then I'd have played him up front instead. But yeah, we'll give this a go. I keep calling him Os. I keep getting the S and the A mixed up. It's not Os, it's Osei. Yeah, O-S-A-E. Osei. Right. I don't really know any of their teams. There's no point in me getting caught up about it. Last ever match, hopefully, in the Spartan South Midlands. Here we go. And we've got the resis out. Perfect day. It's that typical May atmosphere. Everyone's already on holiday. No one really cares what the result is. They want to win, but at the same time, they're going to be off down the beach before the full-time whistle anyway, so who's really bothered? I'm bothered, but I'm speaking on behalf of them. I do want us to win this game still, because some of these players, the way I see it, some of these players have already played their last game for the club. Some of these players are currently playing their last game for the club. Some of these players are playing for their futures right now. Players like Akioto, Bins, Bird, you know, they're playing for their futures. I haven't decided whether I want to keep them or not yet. Bird's contract runs out at the end of the season. He is currently not very happy with me. There's a chance that he'll make the decision for me. But I don't think I've seen enough of these players, and that's why they haven't been given their fair shout throughout the season. I brought in a new left back because Osei was disappointing me. He kept either getting sent off or too many yellow cards, so he got suspended that way instead. Ebanks and Amu, they're both going to be here next season. I don't see why they wouldn't be. They've both played out of their skins. all season, really. They've impressed whenever they've been given the opportunity. They'll both be fighting for that right midfield role if Akioto does go. Speak of the devil, here is Akioto, crossed into Armu. See, the keeper should be catching that. Even at this level, keeper should be catching that. Once again, I feel like their abilities have been scaled back slightly for the sake of the game. But oh well. Bins with the corner, into Burgoyne. Yeah, okay, the keeper shouldn't be catching that one. That came out in quite fast. Although Burgoyne should be hitting the target there, really. Another cross from Bins. Comes back to him. He has another opportunity. Can he get it past the first man this time? He can, but straight into the keeper's hands. Not impressed, Charlie. And they've got a player injured. So they could... In fact, it's their goalkeeper who's injured. He didn't injure himself kicking it out, did he? Please tell me that he was already injured and then he kicked it out. Right, Bailey, good header. Something else we do well, the goalkeeper will kick it forward and we'll actually win the ball in midfield and head it to our strikers. We end up on the counter-attack from their goal kick, which you wouldn't think is possible, but we make it so. We do the unthinkable here at Hatfield Town. There's Bins with the ball over the top, but Burgoyne is not going to get it. Seyu is going to get it here though. Smartly played inside to Bailey. Holds it up for some reason, finds Bins into Armu. Round the corner for Akioto. He's got a crossing opportunity here. Too far in front of him. Picks it up again. Left-footed ball across to Bailey. Well played there actually, from where he was. Good ball forward. Ebanks his volley. Simple. Once again, running off the defender's shoulder. That's a goal you would see in the Premier League. Dare I say it. Ball in from midfield like that. Look at this. Lobbed over the top by Bailey. First time volley from Ebanks over the shoulder, side foot, in off the bar. That would win goal of the month in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure of it. You'd have Danny Murphy or Alan Shearer or Ian Wright going on about the technique as it's coming over his shoulder. He doesn't see it till the last second and, oh, he's brilliant, he should be in the England squad and all that rubbish that they normally go on about. Most of which I tend to agree with actually, but sometimes I just think they go on about it a little too much, so it loses its emphasis. But that was a fantastic goal from Ebanks. Once again proving that as long as all four of them can actually make the step up next season, I have nothing to worry about when it comes to the strikers. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Ah, Seyu's injured himself. Brilliant. Pulled hamstring as well, I saw. So he's going to be a pedestrian. In fact, I was about to say till half time, and I realised we're not even 20 minutes gone. So I'm going to have to make a substitution. McCarthy's going to have to come on. And that is probably a Seyu's last ever match for us. I don't want injury-prone players either. I've actually done okay with injuries this season. Only a couple of players have been injured. Dinsmore missed a couple of games, which is why he's not up for the appearance record like Clifton and Hallett are. But, you know, he certainly made up for it in goal scoring. Got nothing to worry about there. And the rest of the squad have actually been okay injury-wise. Just got one or two that are really injury-prone. Armu's header. Reeves has only pushed it onto the bar. Comes back to Seyu. Is he going to leave it? Yes, he is. He's probably going to be subbed off now then. And he was our captain for the day. So he's going to go off. Ebanks is now captain. McCarthy comes on. Took 3 minutes to make that substitution from me actually selecting it to it happening. What were they doing? Surely the ball went out more than once in those 3 minutes. And now we're going to be whizzing along till half time, no doubt. We are currently 17 points clear at the top. 17! Biggleswade. I must check how we did against Biggleswade, because I had a feeling we had a couple of tight games against them. If I'm correct. So, I'm sure though, looking at that schedule, I'm sure there was a period where we just weren't winning. We were only just winning. And we lost our spot at the top to, I want to say Wembley. I think it was Wembley. But nothing in our schedule suggested that we were not winning matches. So I don't know what happened. Something happened. I'm sure something did. I just can't remember what. Right, Muir hoofs it forward. Cavier hoofs it back. Although his was a bit more measured and found the feet of Armu. Akioto to Bins. Really poor from him. He had loads of space and time and he went and miscontrolled it straight into the midfielder. Although look here. Two of our centre mids are standing next to each other. Both of our centre mids are standing next to each other. We had an entire back line. One of their players between our midfield and defence, and that was it. We're not stopping them from attacking in any sense other than... I'll talk about that in a second. We weren't stopping them from attacking in any sense other than they just weren't doing it. But there, Johnson, giving them the ball... I mean, talk about literally giving it to them. If that had gone in... I would have not been happy about that. Let's put it that way. Might have even sneaked out a swear word or two, but luckily, again, because of the scale factor on this game, he hoofs it over the bar. I don't like it when our players gift goals away either. That's stupid. Even if we can afford to at times, you just don't want to do it. Because you never know what might happen. They might then score another one and take the lead, and suddenly we're on the back foot and we don't know what to do. I don't think that's a particularly nice position to be in. So yeah, less of that please, Johnson. Let's try and hold on to the ball properly, shall we? Not gift it to them, because we're not amateurs, we are professionals. We take this seriously. Right, I will talk you through my subs now, because I'm looking at the players' stats. Bins for Ryan and Armu for Dinsmore are my two current planned substitutions. Because Bins is not doing well condition wise and he's not really doing well ratings wise either. Although he's got a chance here to redeem himself. He's played it well to Ebanks. Mind you, Armu as well, he has an opportunity. He's not in his not in his preferred position. I tried to say something else. That's what happens. I try and say another word and I change my mind halfway through and my mouth just stops working. He's not in his preferred position, so he's not having a great game because of that. So again, the benefit of the doubt should be given to him there, because really it's not very fair to judge him on that. Same with Burgoyne, really. Oh dear. That's their goalkeeper's fault, actually. I know they say you should never hit it in the direction of your own goal. You should always go either side of it. But their keeper really should have got onto that. Why he hasn't been subbed when he's injured, I don't really know. This wasn't a bad cross in, by the way. Armu was waiting just in case. But their keeper, he had enough time. He could have done a keg stand over the top of that ball and still got it. Okay, Bins, you're coming off. That was a terrible pass. That was a terrible pass. We'll put Ryan on. Put that little bit more intensity into our midfield. He is, of course, another striking option if we do wish to step up his training to actually convert him into a striker. I am looking at boosting the midfield for next season. I do think we need a bit more of an investment in our midfield. What is Johnson doing out there? I'll give Armu just a little bit longer, just to see if this substitution will help out. Ryan comes on. You should never make a sub when you're defending a corner, they say. I tend to disagree. It depends on who you're bringing on, or more importantly, who you're bringing off. If you're bringing off the player that's marking their key man from set pieces, then yes, probably best if you don't make it just before they take the corner. But if you're bringing on someone who's just going to be standing on the halfway line anyway, what's the harm? You know, you might as well do it. Or even if it's someone who's just marking the edge of the box, what's the harm? The referee tends to wait until they're in position before he allows play to continue, so you might as well do it, I say. See, now I was going to bring Dinsmore on for Armu, but I'm looking at Bailey, and he's not looking too clever out there either. But he has had a pretty good game. It's when you sort of get stuck in two minds, and you think, what shall I do? We've got 10 minutes left. Do you know what? I think Dinsmore has done enough this season. I think he deserves a break. I'm going to bring Hood on. I don't think Dinsmore was in line for breaking the scoring record. I think he had already broken it, or he was just a couple too far away from being able to break it. So I might as well go for bringing off the player who's not looking too clever, bringing on the player who actually, I mean, Hood can change games. I've seen it myself through my own 2 eyes. He is perfectly capable of changing a game. So he might make this a little bit more secure for us, because at the moment they are starting to make some runs in behind, and I'm really not trusting Johnson at the moment. I'm looking forward to his loan deal expiring if that's the level of performance he's going to be giving for us. Even if this is his debut. No excuse, you're in training every day that you're available. You are still part-time, I suppose, but you are in training. You do have training. You have a goalkeeping coach specifically to train you on being a good goalkeeper. So if you're not doing the job properly, no excuses. None whatsoever. Right, long ball forward. Briggs heads it away. Again, their midfield is starting to look a bit more up for it now. Maybe it's our subs. Maybe our substitutions have sort of killed the game slightly from our point of view. Or maybe it's they've just started stepping up a bit more. Cavier with the ball. He's got time. He has got a man inside. He does decide to use Coggins. Good pass by him out to Akioto. He can run with it. Inside to Armu, who again can run with it. Ebank's taking up good position in the centre. Not a great header. I think the ball came in perhaps either a little too early or was a little too far away from the goal for him to have a really good effort at that. I think it needed to be closer. Their keeper is injured though, so if that had have been on target, who knows. Right, Jenkins. Into the centre, and they've got one back. Johnson. Honestly. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I put myself in situations where I'm playing second-rate players? That is not good enough. You can't just stand there with your hands in front of your chest and hope that it comes exactly there. It doesn't work that way. Poor goalkeeping. It's cost us another clean sheet. We're not going to be setting clean sheet records in this series, I don't think. I always tend to concede goals in matches, unfortunately. I guess that's part of the job, you know. When you play as attacking as we do, you are going to leave yourself vulnerable at the back. We do need a strong back line. Again, defence, central defence is certainly something that I'll be looking at next season. So I'm not 100% happy. So my priorities are a new goalkeeper, either first choice or a backup. 1 or 2 new centre backs and 1 or 2 new centre midfielders. Those are my priorities. I will be bringing you the next episode probably just after pre-season. Maybe even a couple of matches into the new season, just as like an update as to what's going on. Episodes are a bit sporadic at the moment. I recorded enough in advance that I can actually play the game quite a lot before the next episode can be recorded without it actually affecting the upload schedule. There might be people wondering, why is he only doing 1 episode a season or whatever it is. It is because I have to play at least 5 or 6 seasons before this starts getting interesting. I don't think you want to be watching a series that's 400 or 500 episodes long, do you? So I'm going to skip through most of the nitty-gritty part as we climb up the ladder. Nothing you see is fake, by the way. This is all genuine. No reloads or anything like that. If I lose a game, I lose a game. That's the way it works. We did win that one 2-1 in the end, by the way. But yeah, I just feel if I was watching this series, I wouldn't want to necessarily see the entirety of the first 5 or 6 seasons, and I'm pretty sure that's how you guys would feel as well. I tend to make these videos as if I was watching them as well, which is not necessarily the smartest thing to do, but it's putting myself in the shoes of my audience, which is something that can be recommended at times. But yeah, we won that match and we won the league. I think it was a 17-point gap in the end, so I'm quite pleased about that. I'll show you. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. 18 point gap in the end. Even better, that's 6 wins. Dinsmore finished first in the goals, 33. Clifton came joint second with Odiambo. And no way is that his name. Is that really your name? Are you actually a real person? I think you're a real person. There used to be a player for Steamers called Eddie Anaclay, and he changed his surname to Odiambo. I think he might be related. But you've done okay, actually. What's your contract situation? Let's just stick a little scouty poo on you, shall we? In fact, whilst we're here, I'm going to talk you through my scouting technique a little bit more. So at the moment, I'm looking. Here are players whose contracts expire at the end of this season. There aren't many good ones. Look at players whose contracts are currently expired. Again, there aren't many good ones. We've got Jamie Gleeson. How good would you actually be, though? That's what we need to get the scouting pool set up for. We have 3 scouts. They're all relatively okay for the league that we're in. Most of these players are in or around the age of 30, so not necessarily happy with that. If I turn that off, though, it opens up a little bit more. And I mean, I could lower this slightly, and it would open up even more. He's the guy I had on loan last season. Interested to see him on here again. So here we go. Look, Jack Clark is available from Bexhill Rovers. Question is, how good are you in relation to what we've already got? And that's what setting up the scout pool does. I know you. You used to play for Portsmouth. Yeah. Muteyua Kill. Pardon me for butchering your name, but I'm going to give you a scout. Because you might be worth taking a look at, just for the fact you've got Football League experience. You might not necessarily be our best rated right back, you might not even be close, but that experience can play a key part as well. Let's up this back to superb. We do need to expand our horizons a bit more, because we've got 3 scouts out at the moment. I can't remember exactly how this. I think one of these was contract expiration, and one of these was on loan. Yeah, your transfer, your loan. So you, Lee Allen, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to do you for. I'm going to do anything. What am I talking about? End of contract. I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do 2 stars there. Probably that. Urgent, ongoing. This is how I set up my scouts. The age range, I tried to do the full age range, because why not? Urgent, you always set this to urgent, because you want your scouts to be focusing on these if you're setting them up by hand. Duration, ongoing. Don't do it for a year or anything like that, and don't do until finished, because they will just come back after like a week and say, done it, when they haven't. So I always do ongoing, because you want it to be a recurring thing. 4 queued. Which ones are queued? Oh, players. Oh, they're the ones I just set up. Doy. Right. Well then, guys, I think that brings a close to this season. This episode is 1 hour and 10 minutes long by the time I finish my outro. Wow. Thank you for watching, if you've managed to make it this far. Thank you for watching again, if you are watching the series. 8 episodes in, plenty more still to come. The episodes will start getting more frequent as we rise up the league, so don't worry about that. But apart from that, yeah, another season gone, which I'm really pleased with, and another little league title under our belts. I would like to do a double at some point soon, so win a league and a cup, but the league is always the priority, so if we have to lose in the cup to keep the league campaign going, I'm not exactly a fan of it, but I will do it if it's necessary. But that is the end of this season, guys, so thank you very much for watching. Football season. Should mention that, actually, for those of you who aren't aware. Football season, not video season. That's continuing. But thank you very much for watching this football season of Football Manager 2017 as Hatfield Town. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for tactics, training, signings, whatever it might be. They will always be read, they will always be acknowledged. Some of them will even be taken on board if I feel like it would help the team. Don't be afraid to voice your opinions down below, guys. It's what the comment box is for. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next season, I will see you soon. Black screen. That's because I'm going into Audacity and I'm going to stop recording